no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
And we are live. What up, crew? It is Tuesday, June 14th. We got a 2 WNBA game slate today for you. We are back and better than ever on a Tuesday. How are we doing, Eric? How are you making out? I saw you starting to post videos on your channel again. Used to in the past, but took a break. But yeah, where can people find your YouTube channel?
Yeah, you can find me over at Eric's Prop Stop. I had to take a little bit of a hiatus, deal with some family stuff, but back on track. We've been here grinding pretty constantly on Gundacker's channel, so back to doing my own thing and man, working full time. Had a good weekend though. Went out to the pool, had 2 days there, and made a little bit of a rager bet that actually came through, and it was one of my biggest nights ever, honestly.
Awesome. What was that, Saturday?
It was on Sunday. For the first 2 games were a huge disappointment, and then the second 2 games just threw some fire.
Nice. Glad to hear, man. And yeah, that's what's awesome about Gunnan's channel. Like, he wants to support content creators, especially ones trying to start from the ground up. And so yeah, it's really awesome. I'm promoting. I saw he's helping you get things in order. So definitely check out Eric's channel. I wish I had time to make my own channel, but I just don't. So I'm kind of just a freelancer here for the people. So call me
Hey,
Robin Hood of PrizePicks.
well,
But
we
yeah,
appreciate
definitely
it every day, man.
appreciate you guys. Yeah, definitely check out Eric's channel. We'll be sure to shout that out at the end too when we have more people here. Yeah, before we get to chat, let people roll in. Let's catch up on news, because looks like I just opened the dashboard here and research station, and looks like we got some key news already off the bat. Sue Bird for Seattle has been ruled out due to illness, and as well as Mercedes Russell. It just says ruled out, no other news. I assume it's also due to illness. I don't know if this is COVID related. I'm not seeing anything for that, but yeah. So maybe Seattle we got to keep a close eye on, especially since that's the late game. If we don't get any wonky news later on, that's like some other player is out due to this illness. But yeah, we're gonna have to when we get to that game, we're gonna have to touch up the rotation and projected lineup for sure. And PrizePicks, as a result, does not have many players on the board for Seattle, so might be a wait and see on them. But we could try our best to guess on what the
They
lineups
should
will
be.
be.
They're back up now.
Are they back up?
Yeah,
I only
yeah.
saw
Just hit a
3.
refresh.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Right.
they only
Well,
took
we
them
got
down for a
Gabby
minute.
in January. Yeah, so January has been the constant that's filled in for Sue when she's been out. So that would make sense. So let's go ahead and fix that. Okay. And then I guess, yeah, with Mercedes being out, it's just back to more minutes for Ezzy and Talbot and others. So try to figure out that. See if try to predict what bench piece we'll get, because I'm sure we'll get at least one bench piece for Seattle. So we'll try to predict that for the group. Other than that, any other key news to go over?
No, not really for tonight. Just a little caution for everybody if you're trying to play Donnie tonight. That, me personally, not touching any of her props until I see a full performance from her.
Yeah.
But she's expected to be playing tonight. Me personally, I think she's just going to be a body on the floor.
Yeah. Which, we're about to get into that game first because it's the first game, but I'm right there with you. But it's kind of surprising that Vegas thinks her return is a major impact because they have Washington as 8-point favorites. And Phoenix has been playing better as of late. I think, as a result of Taurasi playing better, and Tina being back in the mix. So yeah, I was surprised that it was that much of a spread. So I think that Vegas is really giving credence to Donnie's return. But yeah, I don't trust the return. But who knows? I mean, let's see. If she has a good game, she has a good game. But and we faded, it's okay. Like you said, we want to see her have a good game first. But yeah, before we dive into that game, let's catch up on chat and see who's here with us today. Bape W first. Nice, man. Glad you're first. Randy said, what's up, Randy? Mike, let's get another bang tonight. Bang, right? I like it, man. Let's get cooking. Jay Smooth said, let's do it, man. Love doing this. Favorite time of the day. Tatoa, yo, guys, I'm early or late? You're on time for class, Tatoa. And JJT said, no, Sue Bird. Yep. Just saw that news. Underrated said WNBA, let's go. Go. Hit the like too. Love it. Tatoa said no Sue. I like Lloyd PRA. Yeah, I mean, I always like me some Lloyd. I wrestled between her and Brianna for the cover girl, but Brianna's just on a tear. Flex said, where's Gunny? So Gunn is focusing all his efforts on the MLB because this takes a lot, to build those spreadsheets and do all that research. And he does like a 2-hour plus stream, especially today, where I think like almost every MLB team is playing on this slate today.
Yeah,
So
big
he's
day.
gonna have his hands full, and that's why another reason why we're going early, because we want to have a solid 2-hour block. Sheriff said, "Let's go, fellas." Glad to see you here, Sheriff. JJT said, "I got murdered by the last Jessica Shepard rebound prop. She is up and down on her rebounds, man, but it makes sense with Sylvia out to keep going to it." JJT said, "How can she grab 15 rebounds against Washington, but can't grab 7 versus ND?" I know, right? It's like the flip flop in stats. You thrive on the glass against the best rebounding team, and then don't soak up rebounds against one of the worst. Cher said, "I'm going unders on Donnie today." Yeah, it makes sense. Or just fade. Oh yeah, I forgot. Today is Taco Tuesday. Thank you for reminding me. Jay Smooth said Donnie might be taco, so I'm waiting and see. Do people vote on WNBA tacos like they did with NBA, or is it just not enough
Yeah, as long as it's an option for the taco bar, they'll vote it in.
Okay, let's
And
not vote that.
yeah, I'm really hoping that she's not a taco option at all. That's going to be really disappointing.
Yeah.
And and that's something that's been kind of a little frustrating with PrizePicks is we've had to really make an uproar for them to actually one give us the taco to begin with, and two not just make it some total BS thing that like people are like I'd rather just not even have it.
Yeah, and I think also we should start throughout the summer when it's gonna be the dog days of summer and there's no NBA and it's just gonna be WNBA, and some days with small baseball slates like on Tuesdays. We should really try to get the tacos to go with players that are kind of mid-tier targets for us, so that way we can hammer in our top tier, not have to use the discount on them, and then we can still get a discount on a player that we wouldn't have maybe otherwise played unless we got that discount. Because I noticed like a lot of times the tacos are like the most popular player on the slate, who
Hmm.
we would have played anyway without the discount most likely.
Y-
Um,
Yeah, and just to hit on that point, right now for the running, it looks like the two options are going to be either Tarasi, her PRA, but almost assuredly Brianna Stewart's going to be real points, the winner for that, which is exactly what you're talking about. Like we
yeah,
we know it's a good play already, but it entices the field to be even more on it. And if this game blows out, or she sits down for whatever reason, you know, Prize Picks has a cap on the bet limit, or they just take everybody's money because it's like, oh my god, this is the best play.
yeah, yeah. And so it's only gonna be one WNBA taco, right? Or will it be two?
More than likely one because they kicked off with a soccer one earlier. I would
Okay.
imagine we'll get a WNBA and then probably a late one for MLB.
Did they? So they didn't drop us any like airdrop promos? Like I'm sorry for about yesterday because I was expecting them because they, at times when their site messes up or they have issues, they'll do like I'm sorry promo. Because yesterday the website and app had major issues leading up till NBA lock.
Yeah, I was having issues. I was just trying to just do a withdrawal, and I had to like do it 5 times and talk to support and all this nonsense. Um,
Yeah, the
s-
site was totally down for like portions of an hour up to until lock. So
mhm.
I'll keep an eye out. They might give some type of promo, say sorry, or maybe an extra taco. It's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, hopefully.
G-Man said, thanks guys for the sickness update. Hey, no problem, man. That's what we're here for. Skimmer said, let's go, need a bounce back day. Hopefully we got to temper our expectations of the 2-game slate, especially one with 2 high spreads, but we'll try our best, man. Tomorrow looks really good though. Exit said soccer Harry Kane 2 shots, so that's a current taco if anyone's interested. Big Day said first 3 days of WNBA, you guys got me a 10x, 5x, 2x. Thanks my bros, and thanks to Gun and you for keeping b-ball bets alive. I hope you know how much you're helping people. That's what I love to hear, man. That's why we do it. Love to see that. Franklin said no dying taco, please. It sounds like it's probably gonna be Brianna, which I would have predicted. Exit said take the taco Harry Kane over 2. All right. I don't know much about soccer props, so have to look into that, but I'll have to think about it. Do you automatically run a 5 pick with a taco? No, I still stick to my 4 power play.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's something I think that you and I should, on one of these off days, do a little kind of difference of, both of us have a very interesting play style. And, yours is the 4 pick, and mine has always been the 5 pick flex.
uh-huh. I think
Um,
it also depends on the size of the slate, right?
yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
like 2-game, it's hard, in my opinion, to get a 5, all 5, just due to the limited sample, and especially like when you're doing like one game, like the NBA Finals, like to get 5 in a 1-game sample,
Yeah, absolutely.
much lower odds. But yeah, it is nice having that safety net. But yeah, we should definitely look into that more. Wes said, got in chat late. Is Brianna not a smash? Yeah, right. But only concern is blowout. Sheriff said they did this last time with to me somewhat Ezzy, Best play on the board, and they make her a taco. Yeah. I noticed that Underdog. I don't know if you guys play Underdog, but they have WNBA. Underdog a lot of times when they do their promos, and they don't do them often as PrizePicks, but they will do like a really low promo on someone that you wouldn't have really considered or wanted to play, like a secondary piece. So that's kind of nice. And their promos are usually like those crazy ones, like 0.5 point. But with that being said, it's much rare for them to do that, and much less occurrence. So um. Everything I've seen says that Soccer Taco is a good play, but stats don't compute Taco Curse. Yeah. Curse Tuesday, man. All right. Well, glad to see people trickling in. I guess we can just get right to the first game. So it's cool to so both these games, and I don't know if this is due to NBA winding down and just airtime opening up, but both these games are on ESPN. So can definitely check them out because usually they're on if they're not on the WNBA League Pass network, and they're usually on the CBS network, Sports Network, which are more hard to find and watch because if you have the League Pass, you can't watch them live. But yeah, it's cool that these are both on ESPN, and I believe they're just gonna start back to back. The first one's at 7 p.m. Eastern, and then the second one's at 9 p.m. Eastern. So that's pretty nice if you want to check out the games if you haven't been watching them, get more familiar with the players. But yeah, the first game, like we said, it's an 8-point spread in favor of Washington. And yeah, Phoenix is visiting Washington. And the big thing here, like we said, is Donnie is making her return back after missing, I believe, 2 games. And she's been dealing with this back issue, and they've been not only because of the back issue, but it just seems like vet treatment, but they've just been doing this kind of like Kawhi Leonard treatment where they've been resting her and then playing her. So like a rest on off kind of deal. And yeah, it makes me real hesitant to want to click on her. But let's go into the overall team stats first. So this is the highest implied total on the 2 game slates at 161 implied total. It's not bad. And Phoenix defense is starting to tidy up a little bit. They were approaching near last place since the start of the season, and now they're 9th out of 12 defensive rating. And Washington kind of took a step back. They were in the top 3 in defensive rating and somewhat fallen off outside the top 3. And Phoenix continues to be a bad rebounding team. They're 11th in rebound percentage, but they still run a somewhat fast pace, and Washington continues to run the slowest pace at 12th. And both teams don't turn the ball over too much with a pretty low turnover percentage. And Washington is pretty stout in the paint. They allow 11th out of 12, least amount of points in the paint, and they don't foul much either. The opponent free throws allowed is pretty low. They're 10th out of 12. But Phoenix continues to be one of the top 3-point shooting teams. They are 3rd in 3-point attempts. So yeah, I mean, they're right there and with actually Seattle and New York in the top 3 for most threes taken per game, and they actually allowed the 3rd most threes per game to the opposing team. So they take a lot of threes and they give up a lot of threes on the other end. And Washington is middle of the road average on 3-point shooting. So those are just some key team stats to go over, update where they stand currently in the season. And yeah, I guess we can start, since we're already talking about Donnie, let's just start with the home team in Washington. So Donnie being back, we've kind of seen with her being out, we've seen Shakira and Alicia Clark really thrive. And I'm curious to see with Donnie being back, how much of an impact it's going to make on players like Shakira and Alicia, and as well as Atkins. I mean, if anything, it should boost Cloud's peripheral stats and like her assists and all that. But I'm curious to see if let's say if Donnie is not 100%, then all those players, their lines are still pretty low. I feel like for Austin at 6.5 points, she's averaging nearly almost 9 points per game, and Alicia, since she's been back, is really starting to pick up her pace and thrive more. But yeah, it's hard to say with Donnie being back, and we don't know how much of a role she's going to play, if she what her health status is, and what her usage and shot volume is going to be. I'm going to roll a dice, and I'm going to target Shakira and Clark and separate cards, and hope that they can continue their productivity. I like Shakira's real points, and I also I marked her fantasy being only at 16, and just in case Donnie kind of dominates scoring, but Shakira can still pick up some peripherals and is not negatively affected by Donnie's ball hog or shot volume. And those are the two that stood out to me. So I'm curious to see what you think and what your prediction is for Donnie's role and how she's going to affect these players.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be hesitant tonight with her coming back. The game that she did get injured, everything was a green light, and even just looking at from the tip off, she didn't look herself. Something really seems to be going on, and to kind of hammer on the Kawhi treatment that she's getting here, their coaching staff has been very open about the fact that they're going to rest her. They're going to spread her, usage and workload out throughout the season here. So honestly, I think Washington is still just a fantastic team with or without the Dawn in. Shakira's really stepped it up as of
Yeah.
lately. She's probably going to be one of my favorite plays on Washington side today.
Yeah.
Just, I would say there is, a little bit of a blowout risk here. The Phoenix has been pretty bad on the road this season so far. They've had a good turnaround so far with the season as a whole, but at least to start out when they were playing that road split, they looked awful. Like their games weren't even close. They were getting smacked down. So from Washington side of it, I'm going to err on the side of the Dawn is going to be back, but she's just going to maybe take, I'm going to say 8, 9 shots total the whole game, grab 4 rebounds, and probably still play mid, maybe 24, 25 minutes, if that. I feel like personally, Washington, with the players coming back from injuries and just kind of developing their first unit, the look that they want to have, they're still going to lean on these pieces like Clark and Austin and Cloud as well. The usual starters will play their run. I don't think that's going to change any different. But Shakira, I definitely want to focus in on today just because even with Dawn being out and the adjusted lines that she had, she cleared her props before the overtime and with a fair amount of ease. I think she got a little banged up before half and actually sat down for a small amount of time that she normally would not have. So I love her today. Honestly, I think she's in a really great spot. Either her fantasy or me personally, I love her PRA just because honestly, with her, she can get there and just raw points. One little kind of last note on that as well, just from her inexperience with a unit, there was at least an additional 4 opportunities for her to make a clear path or clear lane to the bucket, and she just kind of took that hesitation, got the ball, and should have been in transition, and instead planted and was looking to pass it back to one of the guards. So I'm hoping this game coach is going to be like, hey, if you're open, go for it. Like, stop being so passive. Stop trying to let your teammates make the play. You need to make a name for yourself here because, Donnie might not even be with the team next year. I got to relook into what her contract is, but I know she's not that long for the team. And if they're going to be making some kind of adjustments here, they really need to develop their young players here. And Shakira fits that bill perfect.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Um, Yeah, I like her real points and her fantasy a lot. I mean, she doesn't turn the ball over much either. It's averaging only like around 1, and she's got about a 1.6 block plus steal average per game. If you're worried about blowout, like you said, I was looking into the first half props. My only concern would be is like Donnie's probably going to be play her best in the first half, like being like
Mhm.
fresh, and then maybe the back over time starts tightening up and the minutes will go down later in the game. Um, so maybe she would be the most effective in the first half, which could maybe take away some usage from the other players. So that would be my only holdback. But the lines are low, and if you're worried about the blowout and want to avoid it, it makes sense. I mean, 3.5 points for Shakira just seems really, really low.
Yeah, that's super low, and especially with, she only went 2 from 5 from the free throw line, and she actually drew several of those in the first half itself. So that number, I think, is a little more flat than it should be.
Yeah, and then you could consider even Alicia Clark's 7.5 PRA first half too. Trying to look back, I'm trying to find a game where they all play normal minutes together, and it looks like, yeah,
Not really, because between the injuries and then we had
yeah,
that game where Clark was back and basically all the starters played like low 20s in minutes, and coach just played the second unit for no reason.
yeah. I mean, the last time Donnie has played a full like allotment of minutes, her normal like 30 minutes, Clark was not back for that game. So hard to say in terms
Yeah,
of rotation and minutes.
and we've seen that Maisha, hated betting on her at the beginning of the year, but man, she looked really good these last 2 games. Like ton of hustle, put up a ton of rebounds, and I actually had a reasonable amount of shots too.
Yeah. So maybe I assume she would be a bench player that they would give us.
Maybe I would say probably not, just because the last 2 games they did give it to us, and she smashed all of her props. So with Don being
So
back,
you think it's gonna be Williams they're gonna give us then?
yeah, either Williams or they might throw a Burke at us, one of the two.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if they throw Williams, would you be interested?
For her, so if they gave us a rebounding prop, if it was at, I would say 4.5 or below, I'd be interested. In PRA or fantasy, PRA, I would say probably 10 and below, and like fantasy, maybe 12.5 and below, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm with you on Hines Allen. I mean, she played 35 minutes, second to Cloud. I mean, I feel like she should play the most minutes off the bench, which PrizePicks should give us her as the key bench player if they're gonna, because they always give you at least one key bench player. If not, they'll two, and especially in a small slate. I would watch out for that. If we get a Hines Allen set of props, definitely be interested in that, and maybe her PRA and her rebound or
Yeah.
points.
Yeah, I think her PRA and rebounds, because those two will go really close hand in hand.
Yeah, because I mean, wow, she had 6 turnovers. So this game went to overtime. This is the most recent game. It happened 2 days ago on Sunday. So just very recent. But again, Donnie was out for this game. But yeah, I think Hines could still push 20 minutes and have other players lose out. Other bench players lose out on some minutes to give Donnie her 25 to 30-minute run. Okay, yeah, let's look out for that. I'm gonna make a note of that. But right now, our top play would be here Austin, and we're gonna
Yeah.
say first points and then fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with that.
And then Alicia Clark. Would you say she's second?
Yeah, her props are still just really low, and they have a lot of limited data to go off. So for this, most of the Washington team, honestly, they just reposted their props from the last game, and Donnie just had her season averages posted for her props today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like Clark. She can be a bit of a streaky shooter, but I love the fact that she's been picking up in the assist category and the rebounding. That's been really consistent for her.
Yeah. So I mean, PRA probably make the most sense.
Yeah, and she shoots the three ball too, so it'll cut down on some of those numbers we need for that.
Yeah, because she doesn't get many stocks either. So
Nah, she's not the fastest, but
yeah. All right, I like that. And then Atkins, man, she's in somewhat of a slump for her type of production, usual production. last few games. I mean, she shot 3 of 16 in this most recent game against Phoenix. I believe the game prior to that, she really struggled too.
Yeah, she didn't go off until like late in the fourth quarter because that was a game I think Dawn went down.
Against Minnesota, last game they played, it was against Minnesota, and she finished with 12 points. She really, really struggled that game. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on. I mean, she can be very productive, but with Donnie back in the mix, it makes me even more hesitant, especially with her struggling shooting. But maybe Donnie opens things up for her. But you're not getting much of a discount on her point prop, 14.5. And then Cloud, would you be interested in this fast-paced environment? Her assist prop is now back up in the 6.5. Sometimes we can get it down to 6. But I assume with Donnie being back, they juiced it back up to 6.5. Only concern, like you said, is the blowout. And I feel like with 6.5, you're probably going to want a full game to feel really comfortable about it. But I mean, she could get it done in 3 quarters if Donnie and them are on fire in this fast-paced matchup. What do you think?
Yeah, for her assist prop, personally, I always love it when Dawn is back, just
Yeah.
because she's gonna have the ball in her hand, probably the same amount, I would say, but she's gonna be looking a lot more for the setup to pass it out to one of the open looks here, and Dawn, we have no idea what to expect out of her tonight, but even if she's just taken a few open look shots and has enough energy and finesse to get that to land, we've seen that Cloud can easily rack up anywhere from 4 to 6 assists in just the first half alone if the team's popping.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
It's a little high though. 6.5 is a little high.
It is high. In WNBA, I kind of noticed, like, unless it's Natasha or maybe even Sabrina and Tarasi when she's playing at a normal old self, like, I don't tend to like to click on assist props unless it's like really low. Because it's just you're really relying on a lot of these other girls to make their shots, and we've seen a lot of them go cold a lot of nights. So instead of betting just on one player to get hot, you're betting on a lot of them. What about going back to your point on Alicia Clark's assist? With Donnie back in the mix and how well she's playmaking, it's a low line at 2. Probably has a pretty good chance of pushing. Or do we just want to stick with our PRA?
I think honestly they're kind of neck and neck. Just with it being so low at 2, that's safe for a push. And if she gets any kind of extra usage in that or extended run from this and or that, that's going to be a really, really low bar. And she's cleared in the last 2 of 3 and pushed in the last or the third before that. The 2 games prior to that, I honestly wouldn't even count, just goldfish memory that from injury and from coaching decision. But looking at some of her stats from last year too, that's kind of in line with her season average, is just right over 2 itself. So it's I wouldn't say it's a bad play by any means.
I agree. Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at the stats and see how Donnie affects. Although we won't have it for this season, because Clark has not played that much with Donnie, a full amount of run since Donnie's been in and out.
Yeah.
I was gonna say how Donnie would affect the assist rate, but if anything, I think Donnie would boost a lot of these assist props for all these Washington players. So something to think about if you want a low line. I feel like and maybe not have to worry about having a full game there, and if they get hot early on. Okay. And then before we move on to Phoenix, did you like any of these team starter props? These things, man.
No, not so much to be honest, but it does look like they just dropped their free throw props for us. And one that I really wanted to hit on would be going back to our girl Shakira, but they put it down for 1.5, and I feel like that is just insanely low.
All right. So, two of our favorite players on Washington have two favorable lines that we like. So, if you don't want to play their full ceiling prop,
Yeah, just to kind of, I would not say that they're locks or anything by any means, but if we're any kind of game theory here, these are just low lines, low bars to hit, and super easy. Especially just last game, she shot terrible from the free throws line and still had 2 for 7. So that's so much opportunity.
sure. Yeah, I mean, she's averaging right there at 1.5 on the season, but I assume that's average is going to keep going up with more sample size. What other new props did we get? We got
So we got stocks and turnovers now too.
Donnie at 1.5 block steal. I don't trust that with her back. I want to see her fully healthy. And we got Atkins at 2.5.
The free throws, that's not bad. Yeah.
Not bad for someone who's gonna be super aggressive. But Phoenix, yeah, they're middle of the road in terms of free throws allowed and shooting fouls. Okay. I'm gonna mark.
And this
Okay.
will also kind of, give us a chance to hit on if any of y'all out there have your gut feels about today. If, maybe I was on the fence about it, but now that we're covering and breaking some of this down in depth, hopefully this helps sure up some of that.
Yeah. I'll put it as like a mid tier. Okay. Are we ready to move on to Phoenix?
Let's do it.
All right. So I feel like the talking point will probably be Diamond with how much of a discount we're getting on all of her props. Especially a PRA down to 15.5. Fantasy is also pretty low at 20. But I mean, Trossi has been playing better as of late. In this matchup, let's go to the Phoenix side. Trossi was 7 of 16 from the field, which is not bad. 3-11 from three. That hurts, but I mean, this is right in line what she's been doing lately. Is just chucking it from three. I think just being a vet and not wanting to expend energy and just taking the freebie shot from deep and not having to dribble or create her own shot makes sense. But yeah, she was back to Tarasi playmaking with 7 assists. And I mean, as a whole, I mean, I think, Phoenix did a really good job. I watched that game in playmaking. The assist distribution went around. Skylar had 5, Brianna had 3, and then Petty had 3 off the bench. So they did well as a unit, playmaking and distributing. So if Tarasi is not a taco, then it sounds like it's gonna be Brianna. Do we want to go to Tarasi's assist? What did they open it at? They opened it at. It's been really low in the past. Okay, so it's back to 4.5. It was down to, what was it down to, 3.5?
3.5.
Three and a
Yeah.
half the other day, yeah. So it's back up to her season average. Everything, all her lines are back pretty much to what they should be at her. Yeah, they just basically opened all her props at her season average. Wow. Okay, like right on the dot. Yeah. So it's not a great matchup, pace down spot, but they just had this matchup and she did pretty well. Looks like, yeah, she finished with how many fantasy points? 34 fantasy points. So I don't know. It's hard. I feel like it's so hard to predict her this season. So up and down, but she has been playing well lately. But I think Diamond would probably be a more popular play because you're getting such a discount. The only problem is just the usage is way down and shot volume. in
Yeah,
minutes overall. So, well, she fouled out that game too. So probably lost out there. I forgot about that. She missed out the second half of the fourth quarter.
yeah, and I think Tarasi played a minute in overtime and then fouled out.
Yeah, it doesn't show here.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so that'll be interesting to see. They actually just, I'm not I'm gonna say right as we went live, they bumped Diamond 1 point on her real points. Go figure, make my video with her, and then they changed it right as I upload it.
11 and a half. There you go. Wait, I'm seeing 11 and a half still. Do I need to refresh?
No, it just was moved to 11.5. It was at 10.5 all day.
Huh. Maybe someone updated the spreadsheet because I have 11 and a half here in the spreadsheet. Okay.
Yeah, I think
It's
they were staying on top of that, but
okay. I mean, it's still low. I mean, for her production, but I guess you just have to worry about Skylar and Tina and Tarasi just dominating the usage again.
yeah, Charles was very kind of nonchalant. I would say for honestly the first half of the game, they really weren't looking to get her that involved in the play up front. They were just kind of sweeping the perimeter, trying to take as many open looks, and maybe that was a reason that they stayed in the game. Could be honestly a blessing and a curse. Kind of sucks for Charles if it's gonna be at her production cost, but she looked. I will say she looked really pissed at the start of the fourth quarter because of how the game script was going,
Yeah, I remember
and
that. Yeah.
and she was like, "Hey, pass me the ball. Like I need to do something."
Well, yeah, but
And
she was 0 of 7 from 3 though. It probably also added to the frustration.
yeah, and that was a little weird to see because Diamond, she picked up a lot of extra rebounds there, and obviously Turner was our key for that game, and she picked up quite a few in the first half, but then really nobody was getting any rebounds in the third quarter. Turner, I believe, picked up only a single rebound in that time, and Charles picked up one to start the quarter and then one right at the end of it. So they had a lot of missed opportunities on the glass there, and hopefully something to work on tonight. But that might still be an exploitable spot for Washington.
Okay, yeah. What they opened her rebound prop. It's 7.5, and it's right there. Yeah. Okay. And I'm just looking at while you were going over that. I was adding her peripheral props. The 2 free throw, 2 blocks plus steal, 2.5 turnovers is right there on her season average. In that game, she finished with 1 block, 1 steal, 3 turnovers, and 0 free throws. And again, 0 of 7 from 3. I mean, she makes 1 or 2 threes. She's gonna easily clear over 15 points, and her point prop is it's right there at 15.5. So I feel like today you're gonna want her to make her threes and still get that shot volume that she had in that first meeting on Sunday where she had 16 field goal attempts. So I'm probably gonna stay away just due to the matchup. Um, what are your thoughts on her?
For Charles.
Yeah.
Yeah, her prop lines are a little bit out of my comfort zone. We could see her definitely clear, I would say, the points prop. That would be my lean if you had to pick one. But really kind of going back to what you were saying with her shot volume, the kind of style that they were running with the offense, they were really trying to have Turner have Turner down low as basically the sole center and slash forward, and then they would play the 4 guard around the perimeter with Charles to bring out the other forward or to bring out the opposing
Hmm.
center.
Hmm.
And even though she shot like crap, the scheme that they were running, the amount of threes that the team attempted was pretty crazy against Washington because normally they're pretty good on keying in on that. And I think just the fact that we have basically 4 out of the 5 starters can all shoot the long ball with no problem. Um, Turner, that all in all, might be a chance for one of those two to shine, and whether that's Charles in the points department or if we want to go back to Turner on the rebounds. But
Yeah, I was gonna segue there next. Man, she like remind me so much of Draymond Green. I was thinking fantasy. I mean, she's gonna continue to place essentially center minutes because I noticed that too. You're gonna get a forward position here at essentially playing a lot of center minutes, and you're only getting a 20 fantasy point score for someone who's going to play massive amount of minutes, probably the most minutes on the team. Could we get behind the 20 and a half fantasy points, or do you just want to stick with our rebounds? Because their real points is so scary.
yeah. No, I wouldn't fault anybody, honestly, going back. Just the process that we had last time, her history in this matchup, I believe she only had one game in the last 4 years that she had under 9 rebounds. And then that game, we had to sweat it down to overtime. But I actually would side with you on this one, either her fantasy or her PRA, just because she's a do it all candidate. But I wouldn't count on the scoring quite so much, even though her prop is just scary low. Is it still at 4.5?
For her points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me go
Yeah.
back to it.
Yeah. Is that 4.5?
Yeah. So I mean that's scary low, but we have seen with her to open the season that the shot volume has been a huge question mark, and I wouldn't go with that with any kind of like high certainty, but I think the fantasy and the PRA, just from the peripherals and the rebounding being the strong key point, really bodes well for her. And she's just playing an insane amount of minutes too.
Yeah, crazy amount of minutes, and if a lot of those minutes are center minutes, then yeah, that's even better for fantasy. Just block potential. Okay, so yeah, I'll mark her. I'll mark her fantasy and her rebound.
Yeah, so just a little crazy tidbit. Turner, she played her normal first quarter rotation, and then came back in at the end of the first quarter, played the entire second, the entire third, and then half of the fourth quarter before she sat down again. And then came back in and played overtime. So like just an insane amount of could be potential.
Okay. Was there anyone else besides? Well, I guess we should go back to timing. We touched on her. Do we like her PRA the most, or do we want to stick with her points?
I think honestly, either could be live, but how many 3-point attempts did she take last game? Let me take a look at that real fast. So she only took 2 threes, but she was really efficient from inside, which me personally, I think she, no pun intended, she shines there whenever she's not trying to take such a long ball. And against this offense, you're really going to have to pick your shots, or they're not going to make it easy. Or against the defense for Washington here. But I hate that they moved her lines during the day. That's super frustrating. I would assume that the field is on her today, so we should be right in theory. Even in limited minutes that she's getting due to some foul trouble, um, her lines are still low for what her season average should be. What do you have more of a lean on, her points or PRA?
I worry about her points if like the usage is going to get dominated by Skylar and Tina and Trossi. She's going to just be super efficient again, but she could still pick up assists and rebounds. Yeah, it's tough. I guess the points. I mean, I guess let's say a scenario she gets like 10 points and then like 4 rebounds, a couple assists. I mean, that's a lot to ask for peripheral wise. I feel like
So just I guess with looking at their props and the math they're giving us, they're assuming she's going to get 2 assists in there as well if
Yeah,
her
yeah,
PRA.
that's what she's averaging this season, so it makes sense. Yeah, they put that.
So really the only upside for her is the rebounding or the actual points. With the foul risk, I don't think she has enough stock upside to really go after
No,
the fantasy score.
no.
Um,
Yeah, the fantasy score. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It just scares me because it's just right there on the line for her, and just with all these other, you just gotta hope like one of these main shot volume hogs go cold and Diamond can get hot and just take over the shooting. But Tina being back, I feel like really messes things up for Diamond because we liked Diamond a lot early on in the season when Tina was out,
yeah,
and that's why her her average stats are somewhat inflated because a lot of these are averaging stats when Tina was out.
yeah, and I hate it that they adjusted her lines during the day too.
Yeah,
Because it looks like they put a point on virtually everything.
yeah. Okay.
So this
All
could
right.
be kind of a a trap thing. I would definitely err on
Yeah,
the side of caution tonight. Just in general, these are two kind of sneaky trap games that
I
players
agree.
coming back and all kinds of nonsense. A
I'm
much
put.
better slate tomorrow.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm gonna put Tina mid for her points. I mean, the one that stood out to me right away yesterday when I was like updating the spreadsheet and doing some research was Turner's rebounder fantasy. That one I felt like I felt pretty confident on the most on Phoenix for anybody, just because of her role and how many minutes she's getting. So
Yeah, and the thing with her is she doesn't have a backup. Like she
yeah,
is the filler person whenever Charles and the starters need to go
yeah,
sit down. So until something in personnel changes happens like that, she's going to be playing at least, I would say, 31 minutes a night, even in a blowout. She'll probably still play some of the fourth quarter.
okay. All right, so we cool. I mean, with just these two, we want to walk away with. There's anything else?
I would give a shout out for Tarasi, her assist. We've seen her back into her more normal form. As much caution as you're going to have on Phoenix on the road tonight, if we're assuming that we're going to get at least 3.5 reasonable quarters here, that the 4.5 is a lot lower than her normal season average. Like she should be up there with Cloud.
Yeah, it's just those games when she just decides to turn the ball over nonstop and then get cold shooting wise.
And it gets ejected.
Yeah, and then gets ejected. Or just it looks like she's moving through quicksand at the age of 40. I mean,
Did we get turnovers for her or no?
we got 3-point prop. I mean, she's gonna keep taking. She's gonna take 10 plus shots a game, like a Klay Thompson. I mean, 2.5 threes.
Yeah, that was one of our early season. Whenever they dropped the 3-point props, I know she in particular was one that we were really focused in on early in the season.
Yeah, because they didn't give us a turnover prop for her. They know better. All right, well, we can mark that as a.
Let's see.
Secondary play. Sorry guys, I wish we had more for Phoenix on this side, but I'm not feeling good.
Yeah, we don't want to talk y'all into having bad plays.
Well, yeah, that's what happens with small slates too. You just start to force yourself into plays that otherwise wouldn't play on a normal larger size slate. So okay, anything else that we want to touch on? I guess I would want to get on some of these backcourt rebounding that we didn't touch on for Washington, but now with Donnie playing, kind of makes me a little hesitant because Donnie soaks up so many rebounds. Like, I think it could. I think it could hurt the back. It could even hurt the backcourt rebounding and Atkins and Cloud. It's just such a favorable rebound matchup with how many threes the Phoenix is going to put up and probably how many bricks they're going to put up as well. But yeah, Atkins is. I mean, hers is right there at the line. She barely cleared that without Donnie. So
Yeah.
probably
She got an
away.
overtime too.
Yeah.
We got a few stat corrections on her. She actually should have had another rebound in the game. So you could go back there, but with, like you said, Don being back, she's gonna. I wouldn't go to anybody with any confidence outside of Don or Shakira, who were
Yeah, I agree.
focused on the
Okay.
rebounding part of the game.
Yeah, I just want to make sure cross all our T's and everything there. Okay. So before we move on to the next game, let's catch up a chat. Oh yes, we got the bot. Let's go. Bro, cheapest Tinder. All right. Love it. Okay. Franklin said Shakira's first half fantasy point. Yeah, we talked about that. It's definitely in play if you're concerned about the blowout. But yeah, we like Shakira's full game as well. And yeah, definitely go with the first half. I think we liked her first half point probably more because it was so low at 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5.
Probably if I had to pick a first half prop for her, it would probably be that. What's up, Vince? You're late to class, man. Underrated said, "Oh, they removed Gabby's assist just now. They read my comment. I'll have to get to that." Fraley said, favorite plays for today. We are building that live, and then we will consolidate our list and come up with our favorite card at the end. So stick around. Callie Budhead said, "Sup, my guys? Hey, what's up, man? Glad to see you here. And glad to see the bot here, too." JB, my dude Josh. What's up, Jay? All right. So let's get to the next game. Starts right after the end of the first at 9 p.m. Eastern. A little smaller implied total at 157. Seattle is a 7.5 point favorite, so pretty similar spread. Near 8 point spread like the first game. But Seattle is on the road, but they are going against a hobbled Minnesota team without Sylvia. So yeah, and they're already not a great defensive team and just team overall with her too. So very, very high chance of blowout here. But Seattle is not fully healthy, so you never know. Seattle has two key pieces out. Mercedes is out, and Sue Bird is out. But we've seen Seattle, play a handful of games without Sue. And Brienne January has come in, filled in nicely in her place. And when you have players like Brianna Stewart and Jewel to carry the offensive load, they could still get it done. But I mean, Sue was a key part of the playmaking and floor general and setting up the offense. So something to take in mind and look at maybe some assist props. Maybe it could boost some assist rate for players like Jewel, Gabby, and Brianna. And we'll have to see what they open. Did they give us any January assist props? I know they were holding out on assist props for both Minnesota and Seattle when they were opening the lines. Oh, so they bumped Brianna's. So she opened at 2.5, and they've already bumped her to 3 assists. And Jewel has went from 3.5 to 4 now. See, this all makes sense with Sue being out. And Gabby, they do not have an assist line for her, but it sounds like they did. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe they bring it back. January's at 2.5. That's something we can look into. We should probably look at past data with Sue out in those past games and what her assist rate was like. But I assume it's primarily a boost to Jewel and Brianna since they handle the ball the most in terms of their assist rate. But January should play all those minutes for Sue. So that is a pretty low line. That's something that stood out to me. She is averaging on the season almost 3. So it's right. I mean, it's right there, but it's a low line. And it's something nice to pair with if you want to play Brianna Stewart's points prop with her taco or something like that. Yeah, with Brianna's assist and Jules' assist getting juice, I like that a lot less now. Let's see what Gabby's opens at. But yeah, but I mean, Brianna and Jewel have been just money makers for us, slot machine, hitting every time. So productive. The only concern here is blowout, obviously. But yeah, maybe I mean Seattle. They should run a pretty tight rotation with 2 players out. So maybe we should not only consider the primary key targets in Brianna and Jewel, but maybe some of these secondary pieces. Maybe their lines open a little lower than they should be because of the amount of minutes that they're going to play with those 2 players out. And then Ezzy's kind of been the prop letdown lately, especially on our fantasy side. I think she's been letting people down.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think foul trouble has been a big thing for her lately, and a big reason why she's not getting there.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I think in this matchup today, I don't think she shouldn't have to worry that much about foul trouble. I mean, Dantas being back, she just came back and still trying to get her legs under her. So I don't feel like and she doesn't have to worry about Shepard's offensive threat. I just feel like today would be a day where she should stay out of foul trouble, but you never know with her. The last time they played was pretty much beginning of the season, so completely different teams. So you can't really go off of those game logs and take it with a grain of salt. And you see here, Sue had 9 assists that game, so a lot of assists to go around today. January still had 3. I think that out of all the assist lines, if we wanted to take advantage of Sue being out, I still feel like January's assists too low, 2.5.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then yeah, Brianna, let's see what the taco is, but her fantasy is always live. It got juiced. It did open at 36.5, I think. Looks like they bumped it up to just to 37. Still live. I mean, she's averaging almost 44. And then Jewel. So they got a slight boost for everything, Jewel and Brianna after the Sioux news, but I think you can still consider like Jewel's fantasy and Brianna's fantasy. And then I'm curious to see what you think on Ezzy and these other secondary pieces.
Yeah, man. So it does look like more than likely Brianna Stewart real points at 15.5 will be the taco for today, unless we get something crazy. She's about 300 more votes in front of Tarasi for the next closest. So more than likely that'll be our taco for the WNBA today. But going back to Seattle here, I love Big Stewie, man. She is insane. Just honestly, from a pure fan perspective, she is so fun to watch. Like just her footwork, some of the creative plays that she comes up with the offense. Really being able to, especially in this situation, going back and watching film whenever Bird was out, having the ball in her hands more, and just being able to play that pick and roll game with her, Ezzy, and Lloyd as well. With I would say probably Lloyd, she's a streaky shooter, but she's looked pretty good lately. I've actually been attacking some of her assist props and her PRA just because some of those peripherals have come up. And I think that honestly, even today, I don't know if the first half props for Lloyd would be the best. Definitely Big Stu. I
Yeah,
love her first half.
we've seen her start cold a lot, and then she heats up later on.
Yeah, so I'm going to caution on that one, but Stewart, they still have her, I believe, at 18.5 for her first half fantasy score. She's going to play virtually the entire first quarter and then a huge chunk of the second quarter as well. And if Ezzy continues to stay in foul trouble, some of their secondary pieces coming off the bench are not going to be much help as far as the defensive side of things. So they will keep Stewart on the floor as long as possible. If Ezzy's not on the floor tonight, Stewart is going to be on the floor for every other minute of that. Um, I don't expect Minnesota to even keep it remotely competitive. So huge caution on blowouts in this game in particular. But for me personally, I love her first half fantasy score. She's a stock
Yeah.
machine,
Yeah.
and Minnesota is literally the last in the league. They have nothing to play for right now, and this is just big storm for a big night for her, at least in the first half here.
Oh yeah, I'm totally with you. I like her full game, and I like her first half because I think she could even get close to her full game by end of the third quarter.
Or by half, yeah, honestly.
I mean, yeah, we've seen her, yeah, by halftime almost, be like 8 fantasy points away or something like that from full game. But yeah, the first half makes total sense too. So yeah, I'll mark that down, and then Jewel. Do you want to go with her real points or fantasy?
Do you like the fantasy with any kind of risk for turnovers, or do you like it for her having some stock upside?
I like it for filling more peripheral stats with Sue being out. More assists potentially, um, which are equal 1.5 fantasy points per assist, and
Hmm.
then maybe she runs into a couple stocks. I just worry. I guess I worry about with the real points. If it's not a full game, or if she's having to pick up more of the playmaking with Sue being out, um, or she just gets a little bit cold. But yeah, I mean she's gonna chuck it no matter what, if with Sue in or Sue out. But yeah, it's just kind of like along those lines, thinking where she's gonna pick up a little bit more peripherals. Um, I guess we could just stick with her points. I like it more when it was like at 16, but definitely
Yeah, it's
abuse.
it's getting right out of that comfort range.
Yeah. I like I said, she's a player who starts off real cold, so I'm gonna hold back on our first half props. Um, but yeah, I mean, the shot volume is gonna be there, but I've seen her in a lot of games just go like 0 of 5, 0 of 6, and then second half she just like goes off.
I think we could honestly even consider her rebounds against this foulless Minnesota team. They're a higher pace, and
Yeah,
it's only
yeah,
at 2.5. Man, she had 3 in their first meeting this year, and that was with fouls. And I believe Seattle was at full strength or at least their starters to begin the season with. But that's a really really low bar. Factors into our fantasy score too.
yeah. No, it makes sense. So I'll put that. I'll put her fantasy and her rebound. Okay, her fantasy was 26. And then we both agreed on January's assist prop at 2.5. Um, what was her point prop at? Her point prop was at 6.5. It's pretty high for her. With Brianna and Jewel eating up so much of the usage, and Ezzy too. Yeah. And what do you think about Ezzy's rebound? If we're worried about her not getting a full game run for foul trouble, I mean, she could pick up, I feel like 6.5 rebounds in 2 quarters.
Yeah, I think it would still be in play for us. Is a little bit of a risk there, but I'm almost tempted just with the situation setting up to, if I'm going to any rebounds, I would almost want to look at Gabby Williams here at 4,
Okay.
just because she's with her normal rotation, she's been right on that line of it. And if we're gonna get any kind of like extra, well, one, if she starts again in this situation, but if she's gonna get any kind of extended run from blowout or just small foul trouble, because they'll be down on players for this meeting. I'm not sure exactly how many players they have on the roster right now. That's something that I'll probably check out here soon. But with them being at home, they should have at least, I would say, 9 players.
Okay. Do they have any 3-point props for Seattle yet? Doesn't look like it. I keep an eye out for that. Oh wait, Brianna's at 2. Minnesota definitely gives up a lot of 3 points made. I think they're top 3. What are they at? They're second and opponent 3-point made. And Seattle is second in 3-point attempts, so goes well together. Even more argument for Jules points there. Yeah, Brianna. I mean, I'd rather take her fantasy with how she does everything for the team. And then another thing is Minnesota turns the ball over at a very high rate. They are third in turnover percentage, third highest turnover percentage. So some of these stocks you could consider, or just fantasy points for Gabby and Ezzy. Ezzy, it might seem like a lot at 3.5, but she is the stock queen. So I feel like her stocks are always in play. I mean, as you can see, she's averaging like almost 5 stocks per game.
Yeah, and that's against good teams.
Yeah, she's averaging 4.4. So only thing again with her is foul trouble risk. And then also you have blowout risk too. So you have two risks with her today. So I would say more mid-tier, but it's always something you should consider with players like her and her stock potential. And especially against teams that are turnover prone. What bench player do you predict that we'll get for Seattle? Do you think it'll be Talbot?
I mean, I would love if they would honestly give us Talbot. I know who's the older guard? I'm trying to find her name that they were running for a little bit. Let's see. Prince.
Prince, yeah, she'll get minutes. Yeah.
So I think honestly, with PrizePicks already having the prop data and stuff, we have all the props from Seattle that we've had for the most part this season. Talbot, we haven't had her on the board, I think, since the beginning of the season, if I'm not mistaken. So personally, I think it'll definitely wait on or depend on starting lineups here, but I think if they are giving us another one, it'll just be basically the leftovers they already have set up ready to go, because it'll be a last minute prop if they do drop them.
I'm trying to see, look at our past data sheets and see if we had anything for her.
I want to say no, just because she hasn't had a prop on the board in forever.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything here. I mean, yeah, I would want her rebounds if we got her props.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. If we do get her for some prop selections, we'll definitely have to revisit that, because that could be a huge opportunity, especially, since like they haven't had any props for her this season so far. Could be bust, but could be potential.
It could be. I mean, if you look at their last game, Mercedes played 8.5 minutes. So I assume she'll soak up some of those minutes with Mercedes being out. And then, January, her bench minutes are going to go to starter minutes of Sue's. So there's a range outcome where she could play around 20 minutes. So yeah, we'll have to look out, see who we get. It's either gonna be, I feel like it's either gonna be Prince or Talbot, but they should give us one bench player. It's just a matter of, like you said, when they give it to us. Do you like any of the team starter props before we move on to the last team?
Maybe the Seattle free throw prop. I do expect Brianna to be driving real hard to open the first quarter, and with some of these new players coming in to their starting roles for Minnesota, it might just be a bit of a different pace for them or a different look. Um, she's a tall girl. She has a scary person that I wouldn't even want to go playing against. And for some of these undersized characters that we do have for Minnesota, honestly, they might be just having to go for the defensive stance of just attack the ball out of her hands. And if they're going to do that, she's going to draw fouls. And it's only at 1 too, so that's really low bar.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, so let's watch out for the bench. Man, it is a great matchup for Ezzy, but just with the blowout risk and the foul risk makes me worried. But with Sylvia not playing, I mean, she should eat in the paint. But yeah, I trust Brianna more. Are you
Yeah,
gonna get any Ezzy exposure?
maybe some of her first half fantasy or PRA, but there's just a lot of things setting up for some disappointment here. Even if we get a subpar performance from her, we could miss our lines like last time. And that was she missed out without the foul trouble the game before, and then last game we got foul trouble. So it's a little bit of a risk, but we know that Seattle is going to play Stewart massive amount of minutes. So that's
Yeah.
for me. I want the consistency.
Yeah. And it seems like when Ezzy's having a really good game, especially in the first half, it eats into Brianna's production. Like that, I remember that Connecticut game. Ezzy finished the first half at almost 26 fantasy points, while Brianna only had 9 fantasy points in that first half. I don't know I can't remember if it was foul trouble or what happened that game, but I
That
remember
was
her not.
the COVID return game that they just
Yeah.
fed Bird and Ezzy the whole first half.
Yeah. So yeah, you're for Ezzy, I feel like for the first half, you're kind of relying on Brianna having a floor game for her, especially like in a half. And I don't want to bet against her. So I'm just gonna put the full game as mid tier. Okay, but yeah, I mean Minnesota is bottom 3 in defensive rating, so that's why our list is pretty long for Seattle. And Seattle with having 2 players out makes them even more attractive tonight. So probably will have the most Seattle players out of all the teams on a single card. Probably 2.
Yeah, hands down.
At
Especially if
least
you're
2.
making a 4 pick.
Yeah. At least 2 I'll have and just mix and match. Okay, so let's move to Minnesota. So yeah, Sylvia remains out, and Dantas, she recently returned, right? She was that her first game back, I believe.
Yeah, it was her first, or she played 1 game prior, and then that was her second game.
Is it by coincidence that she's back when Sylvia gets ruled out, or or did they rush her to start playing again? Like she could have been playing, and they just like, okay, you need to start playing.
Yeah, I think it's more of the latter there that they're just like, okay, we're out of options now, so your turn.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's hard with her. I mean, maybe she's a player to take advantage of because PrizePicks doesn't have any current season data on her. So the lines are pretty low. But yeah, let's see, the last game she played. $18. So maybe, yeah, she gets a little bit more, like around 20 in this matchup. Can consider it, but I think the only thing I would think about with her would be rebounds, because Seattle remains a bottom rebounding team. They're 12th in rebound percentage. A lot of that, the average stats though are coming with when Ezzy was out though, so they should get a little bit better at rebounding, but they still seem to struggle, especially with all the 3-pointers they take. So maybe her 3.5 would be one I consider. Is there anything else you could get on for her, or fantasy, or being
Yeah,
so low?
either I would say rebounding for her number one play, and then a close second would be, I think, her probably her fantasy score. Honestly, she's a 3-point kind of center. If you take a look for her last game there, that she shot 1 from 5 from the field, but she took 3 3-point attempts and didn't make any trips to the free throw line, so that was a little unfortunate. But I think there's a couple of different paths here, especially with being able to get 2 assists, and I think she had 1 assist or 2 assists for the game before that as well. So kind of a player that is still trying to figure it out, but we're also trying to figure out what are you doing, and it's going to be a high risk, high reward kind of situation because the bar is so low. But I know that somebody in our Discord was like, "Oh, she hasn't, da da da, has had a bad couple of last games, but she hasn't played in almost a year. So the last 2 games are only even remotely close data that we have for her, and there definitely could be a lot of potential for her to have a lot of upside and a lot of room to grow. But we also have no idea what is Minnesota's plans moving forward. We know that they favor some of their starters, some of their key players, but we've also seen that they've benched them and changed up the rotation entirely with like Powers, for example. Um, a lot of things for this game for me is I need starting lines before I'm placing any bets on any of these secondary pieces. But we know that at least Shepard, I would say McBride, and Dantas will be at least the starters for tonight.
Man, I really want Nicolina. She's just like been the only bright spot, I feel like, and has been beasting it with Sylvia out. What did the last game? What did she have?
Oh, she popped off, man. She was hitting just every other shot, and she
Yeah,
looked good too.
she
Like
looked
a lot
good.
of energy.
Yeah, 34 fantasy points in 30 minutes. She played the entire third and the entire fourth.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's a sign of anything, maybe she starts. Maybe she gets to start. I mean, if she is going to play the entire second half, and it was a close game. They lost 84-80. She was getting them back into the game.
Yeah, by
Maybe
herself.
maybe she picks up the start here if it's oh, and then I forgot about Carlton as well.
Yeah, she got the nod last game.
Yeah, so she started. I forgot to add her. Oh no, but that's because McBride was out of that game. Okay, McBride is back. It's probable. So Carlton will go back to the bench. So yeah, maybe they start Shepard, Powers, Jefferson, Nicolina, and McBride, and just run Dantas sparingly off the bench. I don't know.
I would love to see that, honestly. I'm kind of I'm really curious to see if Powers is going to be back in the starting line or not. That for me is going to play a pretty huge decision making on some of these low point lines.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because they have her 3.5 free throws made. She's averaging about 4. But Seattle doesn't foul much. They're 12th in free throws allowed. And McBride, they have her stuff really juiced. At 15.5.
Yeah, this was
And coming back from injury.
yeah, the game before that when she popped off. they probably just left our lines at that and they're reposted.
Yeah, they got 23 fantasy. She's only averaging 21. I don't feel good about any of her lines. Maybe, yeah, no. Seattle's perimeter defense is probably that's their strong suit. So when jumped on any 3-point props for Minnesota, especially since they're 10th in 3-point attempts, they take like bottom 3 in 3-point attempts. Yeah, they don't take many threes. Okay, so I agree. Let's watch out for the starting lineup. If Dante starts again, but if we get Nicolina as a bench player, I would jump all over that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially, I mean, her points, her fantasy. Yeah, let's just see what it is. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Hopefully, we get it before the first game locks. But with all that said, could we consider Shepard's PRA or her fantasy, given how low it is, at 15.5, and her fantasy at 18.5?
Yeah, I honestly don't mind going back to her tonight. I feel like yesterday or Sunday was just the team had enough and everything was already going sideways. So let's just kind of run the second unit. Let's see what they can do. For me personally, I was really surprised that she did not open the second half. That kind of threw me off. So I would have a little bit of, way in the back of my mind, kind of pause there. But her prop lines are just extremely low. I feel like her PRA is probably the best way to go, just because, and we saw with this last game that she did not want to get a rebound, like was actively going away from underneath the basket and was just trying to get set back on defense or on offense on the other side. So the points were definitely there. She shot like crap for a little bit, but ended up, I think she burned us by 2 points on her PRA the other night, if I'm not mistaken. She got
Yeah, 3.
yeah. Um
Well, I guess it depends on what her PRA was, her line at the other night, but it was, yeah, she finished with 13.
okay, yeah. So I mean just shy of it, and she missed a handful of the last shots that she had an opportunity to make at the end of the game there. And they actually could have put it in overtime had they not messed it up kind of in the last few minutes there. But Minnesota's going to have to do something here. They're just not going to actively I don't think they're going to actively tank the games. They might allow them to like lose, but they're going to have to do something. The coach just can't have a terrible season ending like this and do nothing with it.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point about her scoring, especially if she's gonna like try to eat up a lot of points in the paint with Sylvia out. I feel like that's the one weakness and attack point of Seattle is like they allow a lot of backdoor cuts and cuts to the basket in general and points in the paint. They're actually third in most points in the paint allowed to the opponent. So players like her and Dantas and even Nicolina, I feel like they're point props maybe. But yeah, if Shepard, if you want to cure all her stats, especially her rebounding. Because if you're unsure, if you just want to click on rebounding, then maybe her PRA would be the way to go. But yeah, I'm probably gonna mark her point at 7.5. I know it got juiced a little bit. I think it was at 6.5 last game, I believe. But I think yeah, they're gonna try to feed her on those cuts and feed her in the paint. That's the best way to attack Seattle. I feel like teams know that. Um, what do you think? Should we go with the points first and then PRA, or do you like the PRA better?
Yeah, let's go with the points first. And that was a good call, good shout out there by you. I actually had those flippy flopped in my spreadsheet here, so definitely in line with you. And she, is a streaky energy style player,
Yeah.
but they are going to need her size and her physicality here. Hopefully she can stay out of foul trouble. Um, a little hesitation if she sees a lot of Brianna as her kind of counterpart, but going up against Ezzy or any of the other pieces from Seattle, I think that even if it's just a few minute window, there's a lot of opportunity to still have good production in there. And if she can draw a couple fouls here on, say, like
Hmm.
Ezzy, that's going to free up and shore up some of those points that we need.
I agree. I like it. Okay. And one thing I noticed, Davey only gave us one assist prop for Minnesota. I don't know what's going on, but currently, right now, we only have Mariah Jefferson with an assist prop. So I keep an eye out for those. If you are interested in any of their assists, I assume they're going to drop. I don't know why they're holding out. Maybe they want to see the starting lineup. I don't know, but yeah, there's no assist props except for Mariah. It's kind of surprising because you'd think there'd be one for Kayla, but okay. Or Shepard. Um, yeah, and let's definitely look out for Nicolina's props. I'm gonna just put her as a placeholder. But yeah, I'm not feeling super confident on Minnesota until we, like you said, until we see the starting lineup. So I unless we get Nicolina before the first game lock, I'm probably gonna hold off on Minnesota for the most part. And yeah, just load up on Seattle and probably Washington props. So with that said, I will catch up with chat and then we'll build our team stream card.
Yeah, absolutely. One last little shout out here. I would say I did have some interest in Mariah at her 10.5 real points. Just
Okay.
a just a low bar for her, and I think with she had a bad game and then had those injuries, and Price Picks over adjusted, especially with the whole mess that Minnesota went through during that time. But her real points just being so low the last two games, she came back and played 32 and 30 minutes, had a ton of shots. I took 9 and 10 shot attempts. So if we just get A3 and half, not even half those shots to land, that's a easy play. But I would not take it if she's not starting.
All right, add this to notes in case anyone's keeping track of notes here. All right.
Get caught up
Oh,
on. Oh,
I got any of the team starters stats.
maybe just a 3-point made. I'm still gonna stick to my guns with. I know you had mentioned it earlier. They're kind of a league low in that, but the .5 is just such a low bar for honestly any team in the WNBA.
Yeah.
And with McBride back, I actually do like this. Between her and one of the other guards, feel pretty confident. We might be sweating it down to 15 seconds again, but she made it.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right, chat. What do you got for this game? JB said, "Oh no." Produced by K Hunter said, "What about Skylar Fantasy?" We actually didn't. Glad you brought that up. We didn't touch on her that much. We kind of glossed over her since we focused so much on Diamond and we didn't know what to do with her, and also talked about Taurasi's inconsistencies. But yeah, I mean, Skylar's like usage and shot volume is going to be there for sure. I mean, right there, if not leading ahead of Taurasi. Her assist prop got bumped. We liked it when it was at 3.5 and 4. Now it's all the way up to 4.5. And her rebounds got bumped as well. And her fantasy is pretty much right in line, right at there at 33. The last game, I believe she cleared that. I think she had like 34, 35. But that went to overtime. So I can't remember. She got, oh no, she had 46. Sorry. It was who? Oh, it was Tarasi that barely covered 30. Yeah, Tarasi had 34. That's right. Yeah, but you got to keep in mind this went to overtime. But yeah, she's gonna fill the stat line. It's just not a great matchup. Pace down. And yeah, like I said, the last game went to overtime. What are your thoughts on Skylar?
Yeah, she's not a bad play. She did land on her ankle, so I will have a little bit of a injury hesitation. She could have been just kind of selling the injury, but she did lay on the ground for a hot minute. Did make three free throw points for that, but she's not bad. There's just a lot of mouths to feed here in Phoenix, and especially with Charles coming back and a pace down matchup for her. She had a good game this last time, but we are seeing PrizePicks aggressively adjust her lines right here. So
Yeah, for
I
sure.
I wouldn't talk you off of it, but this is definitely setting up to be a disappointment spot as opposed to like coming off of Tarasi. She was having those terrible games, and then she's just been crushing her props the last 3 games.
Yeah, and if this game blows out, we have seen Phoenix send Skylar and Tarasi to the bench immediately at the end of the third quarter, and they won't touch the court on the fourth. And we have seen, though, Diamond play with the cleanup crew. But that was when Phoenix was pretty short staffed with like a 7 to 8 rotation. So that's not a guarantee that Diamond would play the entire fourth and with the cleanup crew, but it's more of a higher probability that she would than over Skylar. Skylar, they seem to protect more so. Something to keep in mind, because like we said before, this game definitely has blowout potential with this high spread, and Washington getting Donnie back, and if Donnie's just 90% of her normal self and picks up the scoring, something you could be worried about for a blowout. But if you want to get on our first half props, maybe it's close, so it's 16.5, or even her first half real points. Maybe it could be in play if you're worried about the blowout. Okay, glad you brought that up, because I forgot we did gloss over her pretty quickly. Jay said, "This is MJ." Oh, what's up, MJ? I've known MJ for a long time in the DFS world. Wes, what do you guys think about Jewel Fantasy at 26? We talked about that. We like it because with Sue out, that's even more peripherals and for her to pick up, including assists. So, and Minnesota, they are going to turn the ball over at a high rate. So maybe she picks up steals. Minnesota's third in turnover percentage. So we like it. Gabby Williams, first half points at 2, MJ said. That's low.
That's pretty low. Just I guess it is going to depend on how their rotation shakes out.
Maybe she can get an and one.
Yeah.
Because it seems like she's guaranteed for a bucket, but maybe she just needs to get an and one, put her over the line. Cowboy said, "What up, Cowboy? Man, you late to class. Where were you?" Randy said, "Dantas under fantasy. If you got a good feeling on her, on what you could predict for her, but it's hard to say right now without knowing the starting lineup, like we talked about, and just how many minutes she's gonna play. I mean, she played 18 minutes her first game back. It could go up to 20 plus, 23. Who knows? So it's a little risky, in my opinion. If you're not feeling good about her, I would say just fade her. Catching the end on lunch. Let's go." Corey said, "Hey, what's up, Corey? Glad to see you made it." Vince said, "Thinking a strong 8 to 9 man rotation for Seattle." Yeah, for sure. So let's see what PrizePicks gives us in terms of the bench players. Gunn said, "Guys, I'm tired of Tinder." Oh, it's not working out for you, man? I told you, just swipe right.
Yeah.
Is there any alternative for free? I'm not sure. I'm sure Cowboy knows. Vince said, "Powers under 1.5 threes." All right. What is she averaging? I don't have that stat here. I mean, I like it. Seattle's, one of the best perimeter defenses. They don't give up that many threes. What do you think?
Yeah, I would probably take the under as well. It's going to be a much tougher matchup, and especially with how inefficient she's been shooting as of late. Her volume is there, but the efficiency outside of the free throw stripe has been real spotty.
Yeah. Okay. Something to consider. Uh. Okay. So this is another. Vince also likes Dantas under fantasy points since she's a turnover machine and not very active. All right. So that's the second person calling out Dantas under fantasy point. So it could be a sign if you guys have a good feeling about it. Big Daddy said Powers last game free throw 2.5 made 5. Yeah, she her and McBride get to the free throw line quite a bit. But I will say that Seattle allows the least amount of free throw attempts. So they're pretty good about keeping their hands to themselves. Stewart's points winning the next taco. Big Daddy said Shepard only 3 rebounds last game. 7 was the over under. Tonight is up to 7.5. Not putting any on her tonight. I understand, man. When you get that bitter taste in your mouth, especially when it just happened, totally understand if you don't want to go with it. Just fade it. Callie Bud said Nicolina's a beast. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's look at it. I hope we get props for her before for the whole entire slate locks.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get any props until maybe an hour before lock, or anything that's going to be new or added.
Yeah. Kelly Bud said Seattle will blow out Minnesota for sure. I think so. I mean, if Brianna's doing her usual thing and Jewel heats up, definitely feels like a blowout in the making. But anything is possible in WNBA. I mean, we've seen Seattle and be 8-point favorites against Dallas at home in Seattle, and they put up 30 points in the first 3 quarters and
Yeah.
then lose. But no, I mean that was an anomaly game. Okay, let's get to the
Little quick card for everybody.
yeah, and we can do every other. So
Okay. Let's see. I'll lead it off today. Feeling pretty confident about mine. We're gonna go back to full game. Our girl Shakira.
oh, that was mine too. I like it. As long as it's in there. Cool with
Okay.
it.
All right. Since I took your pick, we'll go with the same prop though. Her points.
Yeah, love it. Okay. All right. Man, this is risky with Donnie playing. I really want to do a positive correlation with your pick, and I want to do Alicia's 2 assists, but
It's super low. It's so
it's it's
low.
it's low, but we just have the unknown factor of Donnie. What if she just comes out and she's like, "Look, I'm back. I'm good to go," and just like ball hog, dominate
That
from the
wouldn't
top.
surprise me. Can always
But
go with the cover girl.
yeah, for sure. We have to get her in there. I agree on her first half fantasy too. We should just make that an auto lock.
Yeah, that's gonna be my next pick. If not,
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna stick with it. Positive correlation here. I think even if Donnie goes off, I still think that the assist potential would be there for Alicia. Um, and then we're gonna go WA first. And then it's me for the 4th.
yeah, or either or if you have a solid lean or a solid play. Let's go with Turner. I know that was one that we were both really high on.
Yeah. The question is, do we want to go to rebound or fantasy?
Let's go with the fantasy. Just secure for the minutes tonight, and I feel like it's a solid blanket over everything.
Okay. I like it. I like it when we both have a good feeling on someone independently from our initial research. So, and then a fifth pick, I think if you wanted another Seattle player, I like your Jules 2.5 rebound call, and then I also like January's 2.5 assist.
Yeah, I think that assist, man, that's a sweet spot.
Like both of those. If you want a low line, um, as a fifth flex, we'll just put. Do they let you put 6 on here? I know they won't let you enter, but like just for visual.
Nah, I won't even
Like,
let you click on that.
oh man. Okay.
I think this is a card, like all the correlation in the world.
It is. It's like
Yeah, I wouldn't say play Lloyd, just because she is more than likely going to take away like the scoring and rebound production side of what Stewart could get. Whereas I don't think that with so many assists going out, with Bird not playing this game, the amount of assists that are going out back to the team, I feel is way more achievable than just the points.
I agree. I agree on that. And looks like we got our girl Nicolina's props.
What?
Now it's gonna make it a little bit more tricky. Okay. 7.5 points.
Yeah, I mean she's gonna be smashing both of the last two games, I'm sure, on all of her props. That's crazy. So we could take off that last play then and keep that as a fringe play if somebody wants to change that
Yeah.
up.
We just go with our points, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, she's chucking so many shots up there, and she can get that done in a limited fashion.
They're not gonna give us first half for her.
No, no, I was already looking.
Okay, and I will say, chat, if you guys are listening and following the screen as well and watching the screen, I would say if you're worried about blowout, we also really like Shakira's 3.5 point first half. And then if you're worried about Donnie at all, taking over usage and just ball handling, etc., for Alicia Clark's assist, and worry about the just pushing, then you could definitely swap in Nicolina's points for her projected assist.
Mhm.
And the same goes for Brianna. If you don't feel confident in her fantasy, then I would just switch in Nicolina. So I would, but I would definitely core Shakira and Brianna's props, and then just swap in different cards, Nicolina's points into here. And you never know. Like if Nicolina gets a start, that's even more of a boost for her. Or if it blows out, I assume she's gonna get a blowout run.
Yeah, she's gonna be developed one way or another. Her
Yeah.
minutes have only gone up.
Yeah. So I'm like talking myself even more. Like, I just want to like.
Just lock it in, man. Set it and forget it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like, do we want her or Alicia or Brianna on our final card? But we'll just do a 5 and let people decide on their own.
Yeah, I think maybe of what we have of the five here, Clark might be the only question mark, but I feel really solid about the other four.
Let me just put Clark as the 5th then. That would make more sense. What chat? What do you think? What do you guys think? Do we like this ranking? Franklin said Nick Lina's PRA. Yeah, I mean, Seattle's not a good rebounding team. She definitely can pick up some boards here. We just have to worry about Shepard and others soaking up a lot of the rebounds. Last game she did have 6, but seems to be all over the place.
Yeah,
But I mean, if she gets some minutes, then yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that's just going to be her minutes and how long
Yeah.
does coach want to keep her out there.
Yeah, and her assist rate is very low, so you're losing out on an assist stat boost for the PRA. Jay Smooth said Shepard's rebound 6.5. We don't like that. We talked about it, but there was concern about it, and so we kind of leaned towards the PRA just in case she got hooked at 6 or just didn't get there for any reason. But she picked it up with the scoring since Seattle does give it up in the paint. Jatoa said, "I think we should make one more card." Oh, you're not confident in this one, Jatoa? You don't like it?
We'll make one in the Discord.
Yeah, we can do a fam card in the Discord, but seems like the Jatoa doesn't like the team stream card.
We
It's pretty
went
solid.
10x on the last stream card, right?
Yeah, I think that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Brianna's a wild card. It's not a good matchup, but it's minutes though. Minutes. I think
Nice.
maybe if you wanted, okay. Let's do if you want another 4 pick.
Yeah, January assist for sure.
There you go. Okay. Cool. All right, guys. I think that's it. Yeah, we gotta get off because Gunn is about to start his MLB stream in 10 minutes. If you want to check that out, it'll just be starting on his channel. He's gonna do a live research breakdown of the entire massive MLB slate, and we will continue to break down these 2 games and look out for the props as they come, especially these secondary pieces and the starting lineups. So we'll keep you guys posted on starting lineups as we get them. And yeah, and for those who missed out, check out Eric's YouTube channel. He has his own channel. So yeah, Eric, tell them where we can find you at.
Yeah, you can find me at Eric's Prop Stop, and just made a video actually right before we went live. Something I'm gonna have to go back and edit because all this news afterwards. But yeah, gonna be uploading videos every day in between streaming with Josh here and mixing it up in the community.
Sounds good. All right, Chad. Let's be careful today. It's 2-game slate, but let's load up tomorrow. Maybe so. Just build a little maybe small extra cash in the bankroll for tomorrow. And just be wise with today and. Because there's definitely opportunity to force plays here that we normally wouldn't play, but patience. I know it's hard. I fall for that trap all the time, but yeah, let's be smart and let's get ready for tomorrow. We will be back tomorrow, either 1 p.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. Eastern. We'll keep you posted, but yeah. All right, guys. Best of luck. Get that cash. Catch you later.
Peace.
All right, I'll catch you later in live chat.
All right, dude. I'll get up with you.
I see.